Hi everyone, this is going to be a special feature. I recently took a trip from Shanghai to Beijing, and I took the 787 on the outbound flight and the Airbus A350 on the return flight. I've already flown with the Boeing 787 for a couple times on various airlines. Knowing about all the quality issues that Boeing is facing on the 787 right now that already led to a stop of all deliveries, I made some observations on my own as a passenger. One of the things that are really cool about the 787 are those windows that can be dimmed by the push of two buttons. Obviously, it's a very nice feature to be able to adjust the brightness of the window. But there's one downside to it. The thing is that the crew can actually take away your authority and control all windows or limit how much it can be dimmed or undimmed. That, of course, is not a quality issue. When you look closely at the windows, you can just see that the rubber seal is not very well installed. I don't think this is going to cause problems in the pressurization of the aircraft, at least I hope it doesn't, but still, it just doesn't look good at all for the passengers. And I hope this is done more thoroughly for the really safety critical features. And even here, you can see that the inner wall of the cabin is not manufactured in a precise way as it could have been. And if you're wondering whether it's just this one window, no, I checked many of them that are nearby and they all look the same. And it's also just not that one airframe. I took a few flights with EVA Air on the 787, different airplanes, and they all look the same, just like this. And it's also the same on Air China and Juneyao Airlines, those that I took recently. And when you look into the rest of the cabin, everything just looks so cheap and not very well done. The size of the gaps between the overhead bins can be very different. The haptics are not very well designed. And worst of all, this is just very, very consistent across all the airplanes that I've flown. And they include frames that are manufactured in both Seattle and Charleston. And speaking of flying, my impression is that the noise level in the cabin is very high, probably higher than the A330, but definitely higher than the A350 or the A380. And that is compared to the same position in the aircraft. I've flown in the front of the Boeing 787 and the Airbus A350. I've also flown in the back of both airplanes, and the 787 is definitely louder than the A350. Looking at the Airbus A350, you definitely cannot see the same issues with the windows. From the passenger's point of view, everything just seems to be very well designed and manufactured. These are some older footages that I got on the Lufthansa Airbus A350. So if I had a choice, I would definitely prefer the A350 over the 787. And I really hope that those things that I have seen do not lead to safety critical issues.